to meet, and it's very important because Jose is living proof, and he is living in an atrocious situation placed upon him by our government through our deplorable agencies, and what they have done to him, his family, and the group of people that live in South Miami, part and parcel, and I will say this, folks, with the knowledge of Marco Rubio. He is not the person that the media thinks he is. Thank you so much for joining with us today. Folks, I want to introduce you to Jose Fernandez. Hello, Jose, and thank you for joining us and sharing your story with other Americans throughout the country.
Thank you, Karen. My name is Jose Fernandez. I am an independent constitutional activist from Miami, South Florida.
And Jose, I would like you to share your story because, folks, this is a perfect story of our government in action. One thing before you start, Jose. In Florida, folks, we have Bill Nelson and Adam Putnam, who to me are part of the same disgraceful team, and they have put together a land grab under the phony idea of saving the Everglades. And what they have done is amassed millions of taxpayer dollars to steal land from people like Jose. So, Jose, please tell everyone your story, what happened, and how this was started.
Okay, I live in the 8.5 square mile. Actually, I have a farm there. I live a little more to the south. We have over 1,000 families who, during 7 years ago, came and started harassing us.
All right, one second, Jose. Durham is the Department of Environmental Resource Management, and that's a Florida state agency. Go ahead.
And it works with DEP and EPA. Okay, they harass us. They violate all our constitutional rights, and I mean all. I got proof in papers of thousands of families. People have been getting suicide. Most families have got destroyed. People are losing their properties. And it's all because Agenda 21, that is controlled by Harvey Rubin, you know, head of Agenda 21 and Miami Dade County. He has control of the court. So
okay,
if you want to explain to the process.
Hold on one second, Jose. Harvey Rubin was appointed to his first position by Marco Rubio. And when I approached Marco Rubio and I said, you know, his staff, and I said, how could he, put a communist? Harvey Rubin has made statements like individual property rights will have to take a back seat for the good of the collective. That's right out of the Communist Manifesto playbook. Marco Rubio appointed him. Marco Rubio's team said they didn't really know who he was. How could you not know and not get a person that you are going to put in control of land? Sorry, Jose, go ahead.
Okay, let me explain who Marco Rubio is. Okay, Marco Rubio, my wife, Ida Fernandez, approached him on a rally when he was running for senator, and she asked him, you know, what about our constitutional rights? I'm going to have to go on exile. And he just turned and said, oh, you're the guy with the problem with them. And he kept campaigning. He has total knowledge of this case, but there is a problem. The big interests, like the Line Rock miners, Cemex, and White Rock, especially Cemex, who's really mining on the Everglades, they contribute to their campaign of Marco Rubio, Mario Diaz-Balart, Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, and David Rivera. All these politicians, they are very fast to jump to fight for the people in Cuba, but to us, the American people, the ones who get them elected, and the ones who pay their salary, they totally ignore us. Why? They are controlled by higher interest. Even the media down here in Miami is in total control. They cannot speak about myself.
Jose is living in an area that you and your family have lived in for the last 30 years. This was a family landscaping business, and you had this property, the deed, that was clean deed. There was no listing of wetlands on your deed and in any of the county records. And then all of a sudden, DERM, the Department of Environmental Resource Management, came knocking on your door, and there were about 1,000 other families that were living in the same area, and told you that you were now in the wetlands area, and you had to vacate your business from your property. And then what happened?
Yes, you're totally right. And that property that you're talking about is going to be for sale on an auction next month on the 13th. You know why? Because they're saying I haven't paid the taxes. Let's start because the taxes they're charging, they're no wetland taxes. But forget about that. They took the land used from us several years ago. They told us we cannot use the land, and we have to destroy our legal nursery with all the license that we have, federal, state, and local license. So if we cannot use the land, how are we going to pay the taxes? That's the way they work. They send you to a judicial court system that is all corrupted. Remember, Harvey Rubin controls the 11th Judicial Court. So there they take all your money between the lawyers and the judges. So they take you to bankruptcy. Then you cannot pay. Besides that, you may produce your land, and then they sell it on an auction. Who's going to buy it? Some friend of them, probably.
Folks, this is going on all over the country. This is a concerted land grab by exactly what John and I were talking about before, by the green environmentalists whose sole goal and purpose is to get people off their land, because land accumulates wealth, and individual wealth is unacceptable under communism. So they're not going to come by and say, yo, we're communists and we want your land. What they're going to do is they're going to use our laws and rules against us and create phony laws and rules. So here is Jose and this group of people, over 1,000 of them, in an area that Bill Nelson wanted as part of his Everglades project, and here's a group of people that were living in the way. And also they are mining down there, and they're growing sugar down there, but Jose was unfortunately not part of the privileged group. So in order to get his land, they didn't say, Jose, do you want to sell your land? They said, Jose, we're going to steal your land by claiming erroneously that it is part of the wetlands project, even though I believe you went to the Army Corps of Engineers, you checked all of the FEMA maps, you went to the county, checked your title, checked your deed, and there was never a mention of wetlands on any of those items. No mention at all. And then you wind up going to court. And while in court, the only thing that happened was the attorneys got rich, because that's what this is all about. That is really what this is all about, to steal money from Jose, to wind up with his land, and Jose and his family get nothing. So right now, Jose, do you have a website for people how can people reach you, for anyone that wants to donate and help Jose and his family?
No.
How can they find you?
I don't need money. I don't want money. I definitely don't want money. I want support. I want support.
Okay, how can people reach you, Jose?
Okay, my website is fernjose@hotmail.com. You can watch my videos on my line on YouTube. You go to J Fernandez 3333, and you'll see all the videos and you can judge by yourself. But let me give you eminent domain. They don't pay you. They don't give you anything in return. What they try is to get you out of your land, and then with tactics from the KGB, harass you until you give up. Now, the thing that I got for the, not environment, but extremely environmentalists, how they are letting Cemex mine the pure Everglades, I mean the virgin Everglades. And that's the whole thing about this. Why go? Is the land rock that is the foundation from every construction project. Cemex wants our land, since it's rich, it's totally, I mean, you go 6 inches down and you have the rock right there. But the environmentalists don't care, since they get a lot of money from these great conglomerations like Cemex and White Rock.
So right now, your area, your land that you own is in the middle of a very, very productive area, which could be something that could be used by the big corporations. And this is how the little people, us guys, the American middle class, this is how we are losing our battle by not speaking up. But Jose is speaking up. And what he's asking all of us is to bombard Marco Rubio, bombard Senator Nelson, bombard the news media, and all of the people in the House and Senate in Florida. Please, this is very, very, very important, folks. This is not just a Florida issue. I'm getting emails from people all over the country. This is going on in California. It's going on in Wyoming, Nebraska, all over the place. The goal of Agenda 21 is to force people off of their private land and to put us in their ghettos that they call sustainable development, where they can inventory us as to how we can work for the government, because that's all they care about. Inventory. We are inventory. We are human capital, and we are there for their disposal, and that's all they care about for us. So as we are going through these vetting processes, ask the right questions. What would your sheriff do?
Because I'm going to tell you something. I listen to people with my heart, and I listen with what my mind is to what Jose is telling us and what he shared with us. And I want folks every one of our listeners, to catch on to this. When Karen made a remark about, maybe sending donations, the one clear thing that Jose said is, I don't want money. This is about principle. So we have a principled man who has worked to accomplish success, to chase the American dream. And now we have a government, any government body that would steal the principles of a right American must be abolished. We can't accept this. When we have any citizen in this nation who is under this broad of an attack, and this is an attack on this man's freedom and liberty, I am outraged that Marco Rubio, selling himself as a principled politician, would ever allow this to go unbeat. Whoever performed this must be turned back. And we must support Jose, because guess what, folks? Karen got it dead right. This is happening across this entire nation. The United Nations agenda is to steal every American citizen's private property ownership. They will steal it. It is not eminent domain. Jose is so spot on. They are going to operate under legalities to steal property from American citizens. They're doing it every single day.
Well, Jose, we're going to have you back again, and Jose has a Liberty Bell and truck that he has been driving around all over Miami-Dade. If you live in Miami-Dade, we need a concerted effort to replace Harvey Rubin. He is a communist. He works for the United Nations ICLEI, and he also is the Miami-Dade Clerk of Courts in control of property in Miami. Jose, thank you so much for joining us today. And everyone, Jose, it's J. Fernandez 333. Those are where his YouTubes are located. Should you need to reach him, please send me an email. I will make sure he gets it. And Jose, we're going to have you back again. But this is a fight for all Americans. Thank you for joining us.
Can I make a last request?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I'm going to the Republican convention with my Freedom Bell truck with signs to reflect all of this. And if you guys want to help me, anybody who can go there to follow my cause and reclaim our Constitution, it will be appreciated. I will be there.
We will be there, Jose. We will be there, folks. Emails, postcards, calls. If Marco Rubio thinks he's going to A, be vetted for VP, and B, think he's going to run again, then he better take some action on what's going on in South Florida, his home state. If you're representing the citizens of the state, then you should be representing them, not hiding in the closet. Thank you, Jose. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you again. I'm glad you're out.
God bless.
Okay. Thank you, Jose, and God bless. Folks, we have on the line